Well, look at that. It is a red machine that is flush with my cabinet. And I do have a fan on in here, so if that makes the audio a little choppy, let me know and I will turn it off. You can probably hear it a little bit in the background, right? I don't think I really need it. So just let me know in the chat if you can hear the fan. If so, I'll turn it off. But I just wanted to show off my little insert. So I'm sure some folks are going to be asking about that later tonight. If we'll just talk about it right now. Hi, friends. Happy Friday night. So this is a surround from So Steady that I bought that will allow me to recess a cabinet or a machine down into a cabinet. And I'm sure somebody is going to ask me about this. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that So Steady will make any insert for any sewing machine cabinet, any sewing machine, any hole. All you got to do is give them the measurements for your hole and then the measurements of your machine or the model of your machine, and they can figure everything else out. If they can do it for my 1951 Singer 301, they can do it for your machine. And because you give them the dimensions of the hole that you're going to set it down inside of, they can help you out. So if you're looking for a way to lower your machine down into a cabinet or a table or something that you may have custom made, definitely give them a check. Definitely check them out. I know with my Juki, I had this down in the table, and several of you have asked, what's your Juki sitting in? And the reason why I think a lot of you don't realize it's just a So Steady insert is because it was white. What I did is I went to Michael's and I got some of that white vinyl down the Cricut aisle and I put it on top of the clear acrylic surround so that everything around the Juki looked white and it looked like a custom lowered in kind of fit. I may do the same thing here, but this just came yesterday or the day before, so I haven't had time to wrap it in vinyl. I'm just happy that I have the machine lowered down in there. And you know, if the singer, aka Ruby, is lowered down into this table, you know I must mean business with sewing on the 301. And I do. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I'm going to let you know I sound a little nasally and a little congested, and I had debated about whether I was going to share this with you, but I ain't got no shame. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I came down with a bit of a cold early this week, and I was really tired. I was so tired. But it was just mostly fatigue, and it started off with a sore throat, and then it just went away, and it was fine. But we were going to have friends over tonight for dinner, and one of my friends, the friend that we were going to have over, her father is suffering from some health issues. So we always like to be a little extra cautious around them whenever they come over. If one of us isn't feeling well, we always let them know. And then we always test to see what it might be so we can let them know. It's the responsible thing to do. And Jason was like, "Are you sure you don't have the vid?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, it's just a cold and I'm almost over it, so I'm fine." He's like, "Well," this was Wednesday night, "well, you should take a test." And I was like, "All right." I took a test. It came back positive. So, hi, I got the vid again. But I feel fine. I just started getting some congestion last night, and it's here off and on. I think as I work my way through the live stream tonight, you're probably going to hear a little bit more. I feel fine. I'm fine. How many more times can I say fine? Probably at least 10. So, hey friends, I am, Ian said, again, Becca? Yeah, Ian and I have been joking, and Tiffany, I think everybody I've talked to this week, they're like, you're a vid magnet. I was like, yeah, I feel like I go out on my front porch and it's like, Becca! I've had it a few times now. All right, so tonight I'm going to be working on what I'm going to call a baby quilt. This isn't going to be terribly big, but you can do this with anything, and I'm going to give you the rules for it. Let me first tell you where I saw this. So when I went to retreat, one of the ladies there, her name is Susan, she had some fabric, and I don't remember where she got it. I feel like maybe she used up some fabric that somebody gave to her at the retreat. And all she did was take these squares, and in opposite corners, she snowballed each of the squares and then put it together, and it made a really sweet baby quilt. Now, spoiler alert, the pieces of fabric that she was using was bigger than what I'm going to use tonight, but over the past week or so, another friend of mine had mentioned, I have all of these mini charms and I don't know what to do with them. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to take that snowball block idea and I'm going to make something with some mini charms. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. What I am working with is 25-inch squares of a fabric, and I chose this really sweet heart print. In fact, let me give you the overhead view so you can really appreciate that. This is a really sweet heart print from the Sugar Pie line from Lella Boutique. It's several years old, is out of print. I've had this in my stash for a while, so I just pulled this out. I only needed less than half of a yard because I needed 3 strips that measured 5 inches. And out of that, I cut out my 5-inch squares from each of the strips. So I cut 20 and I have a scrap piece left over. And then I have a mini charm pack, and that's it. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a really, really, really small quilt because when we take into account this finished size, these blocks, once they're sewn into the quilt, they're going to go from 5 inches down to 4.5 inches. Well, I know I'm going to do this 4 across by 5 down. And so if I do the math, 4 across multiplied by 4.5 is what, like 18 inches wide? It's not going to be terribly big. And then down, it's going to be like 20 something like that. It's going to be around the size of maybe less. I don't know. It's going to be small. And so this might not be a baby quilt. It might be more of like a really nice doll quilt. But here's what I'm going to tell you. What little girl, or grandma for her little girl, or little boy, if they like playing with dolls, whatever, what would be so cute? What if you could gift a child a quilt and a matching doll quilt for their doll? And this is what you could do. You could take a layer cake and a charm pack, or 10-inch squares and a charm pack, and make the quilt for the child, and then make a really sweet coordinating doll quilt with the same fabric using 5-inch squares and 2.5-inch squares. You're going to need the same amount no matter what size you do. It's just how big the quilt is going to be will be determined by the starting size of your blocks. You're going to start with a charm square size for the doll quilt or the baby quilt, and you're going to start with a layer cake size for the child quilt. You're still only going to need 20 of the charm pack or the layer cake, and then for the smaller piece that's going to go on the other side, you're going to need double that. Now, if you like this size square and you just want the quilt to be bigger, then just make more blocks. Determine how many you want across and how many you want down and multiply those numbers together. And that's going to tell you how many of the 5-inch or 10-inch squares you need. And then when you double that, that's how many of the mini charms or the charm pack, if you're going to do the child quilt, you need. I think I've explained all that well. Yeah. So I'm just going to get to doing this, and I'm going to show you how this comes together. And I think I'm going to have this worked up by the end of the live stream. All right. Let me just go ahead and close this window out and make sure I can see the chat. So what am I going to be doing? I'm going to go to the 3-camera overview. And I have these comments that are showing up. I was trying to play with the comment pinning before the live stream, and obviously it didn't work the way I had hoped it would, so whatever. I know I'm only going to do 20 blocks because 4 times 5 is 20. I can't use 21, which would let me use all 42 pieces of this because I wouldn't. Then my quilt would be 7 by 3, and that would just be a really awkward size. So I know I'm going to have 2 pieces in this pack of 42 that I'm not going to use. I'm going to pull out these 2 just because they have the least amount of color going on. Maybe I will do some pink ones later. Maybe actually, because I'm using this pink, maybe I want to pull out something like this instead and keep those in there. That's going to help maximize the amount of contrast I have. So what I'm going to do is take a 5-inch square, and I'm going to take a 2.5-inch square. I'm going to put that in one of the corners. Now this fabric is directional, so I'm going to make sure that my hearts are always facing up just because that's what I want to do. You don't have to do it that way. And then I'm going to start in this upper right-hand corner, and I'm going to stitch all the way down to this lower corner. But there's a couple of ways that I can do this. The first way is I can take a marking tool and a small ruler, and I can just draw a line on the wrong side of that fabric, just like this. And when I take it over to my machine, I can stitch just a thread to the right of that line. I'm going to make one block before I make all the others, but first I'm going to have some problems with my thread because I didn't start with a leader and an ender. How about that? How about that? How about that? We will end with a leader and ender though. There we go. I'm going to grab my leader, ender, and then I'll bring it back over here and I'll show you how I know if this was snowballed correctly. I'm going to put my finger in between these two pieces of fabric, and I'm going to push that flap up and over. And when I do, this little flap that I just attached should perfectly complete this upper corner. It should do that from the front as well as from the back. And as long as that happened, then I should be good to go. That's going to keep this square at 5 inches perfectly. If it was too small from the front, that means I was too far to the left of the line. And if it's too big from the front or too small from the back, then that means I was too far to the right of the line. If you are too far to the left, you will have to rip the seam and re-sew. But if you are too far to the right, then you can just come in and sew closer to that left line. Now, the other thing that you can do with this is if you really don't want to discard this piece of fabric, I probably will because this really isn't a whole lot for me to keep, but if I were working with charm squares and layer cakes, then that would be a little different. I could take a second seam a 1/2 inch away from where I just sewed, and then when I trim this off with my rotary cutter, it's going to have a pre-sewn half square triangle unit that maybe I could work into the borders if I wanted to. But this really, I mean, if I sew a 1/4 inch, I'll show you, this little tiny half square triangle unit is going to be super, I mean, it might be a cute element in the quilt, maybe, but geez, actually that is super cute. That is super cute. So you could take that second seam. I don't think I'm going to, but I just want you to know that that is an option. So we're going to get myself set up for some cutting and pressing and sewing tonight, and we're gonna get to work. Hello. We've got, my mom is in the chat. Hello, Bill Imhoff is here. Nancy B says, for the baby's first birthday, I send a doll and a baby quilt made from the scraps of the baby quilt. That's awesome. I love that. Just gonna rearrange a couple of things so that I've got everything ready to go. All right. I am going to try to mix this up a little bit in that I don't want the same 2 fabrics, and if I can, the same 2 colors on either side of the square, but ultimately it's not going to matter when all of this comes together because it's going to end up looking super scrappy. I'm going to make 4 of these blocks, maybe even 9, and I'll put them together so you can start to see what they look like. Now, if you are super confident in your stitching, then you can do kind of what I just did, which was starting in the corner and winging it all the way down to the other side. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just want to keep things moving a little bit for the sake of the live stream. Sophie says, I make extra half square triangle units this teeny size every time I make a scrappy binding. Not sure what I'm going to do with them, but I am building up quite a collection. So there's one block. Now I just want to make sure that as I'm doing this, I'm always putting the squares on the same corners. So if you have directional fabric like I do, Then you'll want to just make sure you're doing the upper left or the upper right and the lower left. You could, of course, do the other sides. That's fine, as long as what you start with is what you keep doing. Diagonal seam tape here would be a great option. Because that would let you make sure that you're staying nice and straight as you're sewing on that diagonal. Sounds like Ian is going to be going live from a quilt show tomorrow. So for those of you that would like to see the quilt show that he has his 3 quilts entered in, make sure to subscribe to his channel. You can do !Ian, or he could just do !Selfie, and it'll drop the link to his channel in the show, in the live chat tonight. I think he's planning to go live from there tomorrow. Zaza says, Becca, you don't want ugly seam tape on the beautiful Ruby. I think I'm okay without it for this one project, but I've already actually had the seam tape on her. It just pulls up so easily that it ends up being something that you have to replace frequently. We're going to go with this one and maybe an orange. Joe Robinson is here from Virginia. Hello. And it looks like somebody joined the channel supporters. Let me just get who it was. Pam Connolly. Thank you so much for joining the channel supporters. I really appreciate it. And why is this now not? There we go. Once I've got 4 of these done, or 9, then I might start chain stitching these a little bit. Oh, the bot is not working. All right, let me take a look. Sounds like the bot might be turned off. One second. Oh, let me move this also over this way so that it's, there we go. Log in with YouTube. CloudBot. Oh, it is turned on. I'm going to turn it off and then back on. And then I think I have to do one more thing. Oh, I think I know what part of it is. Give me just a moment, friends, while we deal with some of this technical difficulty. So Streamlabs launched an upgrade that allowed me to name my bot, which I did over the course of the weekend. And I did not get a chance to actually test it out to see if it would work. So what I'm going to do really quick is see if I can just do, let's do test. Yep, got it. And now I got to wait. No, okay. I just did a comment in the live chat with the new bot name, and I think I got to mark it as a moderator so that it can actually do the cloud commands. Just got to wait for the screen to load. All right. Add as moderator. Save. All right. Let's see if !Selfie works now. If that still doesn't work, wow. There it goes. Yay! It works. Yay! It says QuiltyBot instead of Streamlabs now. I'm so excited. There we go. There we go. All right. I had to add it as a managing moderator so that it could drop links and respond to commands. So there we go. All right, let's see. Somebody had asked me a question about Pamela Troxel. When did you get the Red Singer? So the Red Singer is Singer 301. I got her several months ago, but I only started sewing on her after I got her painted. And if you are interested in the gentleman that painted my machine, he does restore and paint vintage machines, and he is willing to do commission work. You can email myself, Becca at sewbecca.com, or Mary at sewbecca.com, and one of us will reply to your email with his email address and phone number so that you can reach out to him and arrange your own project. His prices were fair, I will tell you that, and he did a wonderful job. There we go. Ian, why is exclamation selfie not working for you? Ian, can you do exclamation Ian and see if that works? Oh, weird. Okay, well, I don't know why selfie isn't working for you. So Bob will hook you up. I'm going to make one more, and then I'm going to start assembly line putting this together. That's a pretty one. The machine sounds so great, doesn't it? Absolutely love it. Pamela Troxel is asking the chat if there are any long armors here. Do you prefer your seams open or closed? Oh, looks like Donna and the crew are finishing up their live stream and popping in. Awesome. Don't forget exclamation ying, not ling. Exclamation ying will get you a link over to Donna's channel. She's doing live streams from 7 to 8-ish. May go long, may end early, depends on how they're doing, what they're doing over there. But she kind of has a live stream happening on Friday nights before here. So if you're looking for some place to hang out while you're waiting for me to come on, exclamation ying, check her out, subscribe. If you like what you see, watch the content. All right, so the way this is going to start going together is you're just going to have these 4 blocks that are all snowballed in opposite corners, but you're going to build out rows of them, and it's going to start to have this little hourglass in the middle. Isn't that super cute? I love it. So I'm going to just maybe put these on the design wall. Nah, we're going to leave them. I'm just going to start snowballing all of these blocks because I think I can put this together pretty quickly. So this is kind of what I'm doing. Let's go to the sewing machine and start snowballing the upper left of each one of these, chain stitching them, and then we will snowball the upper right and then the lower left. That's what we're going to do. And again, for those of you that are just coming in, you can do this with any size squares. I am working with 5-inch squares. That's what the heart fabric is. And then I am using 2.5-inch squares for the corners, and I'm snowballing them. But if you wanted to make this bigger, you could use the same size, but change up the number of blocks that you're bringing in. I'm starting with 20 5-inch squares and 40 2.5-inch squares, but you could grab a layer cake and some yardage, or a layer cake and a charm pack and mix them up and do the same technique and get bigger blocks. You'd only need 20 of the 10-inch squares and the entire charm pack, or 45-inch squares. Janine says, I love the colors you're using. Thank you. I am using the Strawberry Lemonade line. It is a mini charm pack of strawberry lemonade from Sherry and Chelsea. And then the background fabric, this print is from Lello Boutique's Sugar Pie line from a few years ago. And the good thing is because I sat and counted out all of these fabrics before I did the live tonight, I starched everything, cut everything. I have exactly the number of 5-inch squares that I need for this little project. So I don't have to count. I just get to sew until all 20 of my 5-inch squares have a snowballed upper right corner. And then I can cut those apart and then snowball the bottom left corner. Linda wants to know, Becca, are you by chance sewing the Fat Quarter Shop Woven Hearts? No, I didn't even know about that. I'm kind of behind on all of the projects that are going on. I'll have to take a look at it. Is that something that you're doing? They've got a ton of block of the months that are coming out right now, or over the next several months. So if you're looking for a block of the month or sew along, they've got a lot in the works. And I think Becky from Power Tools with Thread might be doing some sew alongs with those too. So if you're looking for a channel that's going to put out some content for those, I would highly recommend Becky over at Power Tools with Thread. We've been doing lots of the pink on the up there. Let's do some green. I love this machine. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. There we go. Ooh, Sylvia's going to do the dragon fruit. That's a sew along that Fat Quarter Shop is doing, featuring Tula Pink's fabric. Bill sent me a link for it shortly after Quiltcon. Was like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was like, no, I'm set, thanks. I still haven't started the Tula Pink butterfly quilt. I only have one more to snowball the upper right. What? Woo! Shelby says, I love the Fat Quarter Shop sew-alongs, but so many of them make ginormous quilts. Joy T says, everyone wants one after seeing your gorgeous Ruby. I have noticed a trend of people starting to bring out or acquire Singer 301s now. I can't claim credit for that trend because what is her name? It's not Brenda. Is it Brenda over at, yeah, Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. She sews on a black 301A and has been forever. So like, I did not start this trend. But I will be happy to encourage you to get a vintage machine. Or just get, like, if you already have one, pull it out. Let's work with it. Ooh, Donna's Craft Collage. Yeah, Donna's Craft Collage says, I just started the Quilted Scarecrow with Lori Holt. Awesome. Linda says, all I had to do was hear that beautiful sound on the machine. Listen, I think that's part of what made me fall in love with Ruby. I love my Juki, and she actually is set up. I do have to put her down in the table that she's sitting on. This week, when the acrylic wrap came in, I took the time to put the Juki over on the other table and set her up so that I can use her over there. So she's there, she's ready for action, but I'm still kind of in the honeymoon period with this machine. So I kind of just want to stitch on Ruby. I will say this week I pulled out my deep dive block of the month. It's a Legit Kits block of the month. I signed up to do it. They're not giving it to me for free. It's not a sponsored thing that I'm doing. I'm paying for it just like everybody else, but it's a quilt kit from Legit Kits that I have wanted to do. But since they broke it down into a block of the month, it made it a little bit more financially, I won't say more affordable, because I don't think it makes it more affordable, but it takes the financial impact of the quilt and breaks it down into bite-sized chunks, and it breaks the overwhelming work down into bite-sized chunks, unless you get behind, which is what happened with me. I'm a couple months behind, and it just so happens that the months 4 and 5 that were sent out, and I was still working on month 3, so I have to finish 3 and do months 4 and 5. It just so happens that those months are very detailed months. So I might be working on those for several months while I continue to work on the months that come in and keep those on track. But what I was going to say is I pulled out the Legit Kit, the block of the month, and I brought it over here and started stitching on Ruby with it, and I don't like FPPing on this machine. I would much rather use the Juki for it. And it has a lot to do with how I start and end my stitches. The Juki, I don't use leaders and enders. Maybe I will when I use it again. I don't know. But I have the thread cutter and the knee bar, and I feel like I'm a little bit more efficient over there for something that's a lot of starting and stopping and starting and stopping. I feel like I'm spending just as much time stitching on leaders and enders as I am piecing the actual quilt together when I'm over here. But the bigger problem with it is not the leaders and enders, it's that sometimes those seams start in the middle of a piece of paper, and that feels a little awkward to me yet. It might just be that my muscle memory isn't there, but I know how it feels on the Juki, and I'm kind of wondering if I'll end up going to the Juki for my FPP stuff. Joy T is asking, how much does Ruby weigh? I believe she's 16 pounds compared to the 39 that the Juki is. I Love to Sew says, I am excited for Dragon Fruit to start. I'm also doing Cats in Pajamas with Tula. Guess this is my Tula era. That Cats in Pajamas, that's the quilt pattern from Art East, right? Which Legit Kits is she doing? It is Deep Dive from Legit Kits. That's the Sea Turtle. It's the block of the month. Bill says, yes, Becca, the Juki is easier for FPP. Bill knows my struggle because he sews mostly on a 301, so I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that. Bernie is saying, what is the difference between the 301 and the 301? I'm going to guess that you mean the 301 and the 301A, just where they were manufactured. The 301 was manufactured in New Jersey, and the 301A was manufactured in Anderson, South Carolina. And I believe they were all connected. I think the 301s were 1951 and the 301As were 1953, I think. Anna says the block of the month through Legit Kits is more expensive. I think it's $480 for the total for the block of the month versus $400, not on sale, or about $350 for a sale for the full kit. That's something to think about. That's something to think about. Pamela Troxel says, I wish my Bernina 830 and my Epic was only 39 pounds. Listen, 39 pounds is still a lot. I'll take the 16 over the 39. Sophie says, Ruth, I sew on a Bernina 1005 and a Juki. I love them both, but my Bernina is what I make all of my clothes on. Why is the bot deleting Zaza's message? What did Zaza say? Any machines with a K are from the Singer plant in Kilbowie. Oh, because of the word K-I-L? I don't know. Are made from a Singer plant in Kilbowie, Scotland. Sorry that the bot deleted that message. I didn't see any reason for that to happen. Oh, Zalgo? What the hell is Zalgo? I'll have to look that up and look at the setting. I'm just pressing these all up. You guys, I feel like I'm almost done with this. Oh, so funny. This is going to go together so quick. And now the chat just seems to have stopped for me. There we go. Can somebody type in the chat? Oh, there it goes. It just jumped. Okay. I was afraid it had quit. It had disconnected from me. Hello, Donna Hinch from South Carolina. Oh, it deleted you for too many hearts? Okay, let me take a look. I do have the settings open, just another window, so there's probably... Oh, there it is. Yep. All right. There was a toggle turned on. I've just turned it off, so hopefully that should fix it. Katie, can you put a bunch of hearts in the chat and see if it works for you now? Rose Davis says, I have my mom's Singer 501 when she passed. I took it and sew on it sometimes. That's awesome. Becky Spencer says, I made my maternity clothes on my Bernina 830 record. I love that machines. Joyce is asking, how many blocks did you get done on your daughter's quilt? I think I have about a dozen right now. It is a slow and steady process because I'm making the same block over and over and over again, and it's a little boring and I need to change up my mind. So I make a couple, set it aside, make a couple, set it aside. Hey, Katie said, yay, it works. Awesome. Just can't get enough. How long is, oh yeah, how is your daughter's? 12 out of 80 blocks are done. Lots more to do. It'll take me a while. It's going to have to be one of those projects where I just vow to do a few a week. I would like to say I would like to do one a day, but the reality is I don't always get in my sewing room every day. So that might not be something I can actually accomplish, and I don't want to set myself up for failure. But if I could do like 4 blocks a week, I'd be happy with that. Donna says, I have my first machine. It's a Singer 328, and it takes cams to do a zigzag stitch. I did see a zigzag attachment for the 301 that I am interested in getting. The nice thing about this when these go together is you're not matching up any of these points from the half square or the snowballs. So it's very forgiving if you're not absolutely perfect on your snowballing of the blocks. They're just meant to be like little accents that happen throughout the quilt. for those of you that came in with Donna, one of the things that, or came in later after Donna, one of the things that I mentioned at the beginning of the live stream is this would be a great project to do if you were trying to make a quilt for a small child. You could use 20 10-inch squares from a layer cake and then 40 5-inch squares to make the quilt for a child. And then you could use the 5-inch squares with some 2.5-inch squares of the same fabric to make a companion doll quilt so that the child and their doll could have the same quilt. Wouldn't that be cool? Donna is asking what size are the pieces, what size are the blocks and the snowballs. So again, the heart fabrics that I am using are 5-inch squares. I'm using 20 of them. All of the instructions are pinned at the top of the chat. They're also in the description box down below. I'm using 20 5-inch squares and 40 2.5-inch squares to snowball opposite corners. The block looks like this. I'm making 20 of them and they will all square to 5 inches. I'm going to put them together into a quilt layout that is 4 across and 5 down, which is going to be a very small quilt. It will be probably a doll quilt size or a very small baby. But you could repeat this process with 20 10-inch squares and 40 5-inch squares. Same technique. Bill says, I have a 401 named Butch. Did Fallon stop doing lives? I don't know. I've been awful busy on Wednesday evenings. I know she's still uploading videos, but she might just be really busy. She has a super cute haircut I saw in her most recent video too. Trina says this is a great charity. This is great for a charity quilt as well. Yes, I would maybe make it bigger for a charity quilt. But again, if you did the 10-inch squares, actually you could make the charity quilt with the matching doll quilt. This could even maybe work to make a pillow to go with it. My nose itches. Ooh, Shelly Clark says, I'm making the pizza, not delivery. So she's having pizza for dinner that she made. Yum, yum. You're welcome, Dot. She says, I want to let everyone know I got the charm pack from last week's raffle. Thank you. You're welcome. Ruth Roberts says, hey, Becca, just noticed your hair. Very cute. Is that just the humidity? Nope, it's my hair. I got it cut last Saturday. I like to wear a bit shorter, so I go a little too long in between cuts. My hairstylist Zoe and I both got our hair cut. She cut both of our hair. And I've just been wearing it wavy or curly. I go through these phases where sometimes I wear it straight all the time, and then sometimes I just wear it naturally wavy. I just put a little bit of curling cream in it, and I let it air dry, and I go. It's so funny because if I wear it with the curl, I'll wear it that way for a while, and then if I straighten it or blow dry it, I get, oh, your hair looks so good. And then, thank you. I appreciate that. And then I'll wear it that way for a while. And then I'll wear it wavy and I'll get, oh, I love your hair wavy. It looks so good. So I like to change it up. So I will say this is my lazy hair. because I just roll out of the shower, I put the curl cream in it, and then I can go do whatever I'm going to do, and I don't have to worry about it. And if it's humid outside or it's raining outside, this is a great go-to because, you know, when you get that humidity, your hair wants to frizz out, or it wants to, your head gets wet. And so if I sweat, then as soon as I sweat, the straight hair goes away and it becomes wavy. So if I just embrace the wave or the curl, especially for summertime, oh, good. Like, I love this hairstyle for the summer, and then for the winter is usually when I would take the chance to dry it and straighten it unless I'm going to a special event. What cut did Zoe get? Same old, same old? She actually got a pixie cut. I'll send you a picture later, Bill. She does not like her picture to be online, so I don't want to share it with the world here, but she did get a pixie cut, and it looks really cute on her. She looks good with short hair. Bill said, I love wearing my hair with curl cream too. And you all can laugh because the joke is that Bill has no hair. Now I'm just going to press these. Ooh, Mona says they had sloppy joes. She hasn't had that in years. Shelly says, what's humidity? Asking for the desert dwellers here. LOL. All right, Shelly, that's enough out of you. So next week on Friday, there will not be a live stream from me. There is not going to be a live stream from me because I will be with my sister Nicole in Maryland. We will be at a New Kids on the Block concert in an outdoor amphitheater, bracing the humidity and the heat. Wish me luck. But I will be back in 2 weeks on the 23rd. I will probably try to have a pre-recorded video, one that I've been working on. I've been making a quilt for, out of some, what am I talking about? I've made a quilt out of some, whatever. I will try to have a pre-recorded edited video premiere at 8:30 or so next week so that you all can participate in the live chat. We'll see if that works. That way at least you guys can have a little bit of time with a video and then catch the replay later if you'd like to. Joey T is saying, is Ian filling in for you? Well, that depends. If Ian wants to fill in for me, I'm okay with that too. Melody says, so how come I'm coughing my head off? Thanks, COVID, and you're not even sniffling. I was earlier, but I took a very hot shower with a tea tree and eucalyptus steamer and have been drinking a lot of water, and I took Sudafed before the live stream. So I'm cleared up because of that. It's also very warm in here. I find when I get congested like that, coolness, like air conditioning and stuff, makes it worse. It might end up getting worse as I talk throughout the evening too. But right now I've got it set at like 76 in here, and I've got a fan just moving air around. All right, so now I have all 20 of my blocks made, and we're going to go ahead and start putting these together. And so for those that missed it, this is kind of what the quilt's going to look like once we start putting the blocks together. You can see the secondary pattern starts to come out here. It makes this kind of like arrow type of shape. We're going to do 4 across and 5 down. So I'm just going to start laying them out. Oh, isn't this cute? Look, because the snowballs come right at the middle of the block, you kind of have like this all that's really cute. But I think we're going to lose that point. Like be, once they're sewn together, I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to do just 4 across, 5 rows of 4 across. I'm not going to worry about where any of these are going. All the fabric is going to work together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what I just did is I made 5 pairs that are right sides together. So 1 pair, 2 pair, and this edge is the edge that I'm going to sew on. So they're all stacked up here, and then the rest of these I'm going to lay just like that, and I'm going to set them over here by my machine. So I'm going to sew, I can chain sew these. I think this is also called web piecing. I'm just not going to break thread until I get through piecing, adding a piece to every one of the 5 rows. The singular question was to you. Can somebody repeat the question because I didn't see it? Oh, I ran out of bobbin. Oh, am I on singular? No, I am not. Oh, wait. April W says, thanks to COVID, I got to catch a live. Man, that seems to be running rampant. And y'all, I didn't do anything other than go to work and the vet and get my hair cut and the mall to do back to school shopping and out to eat. And that was it. Oh, I got to sneeze. Oh, no. I tried to mute. I think another one's coming. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. Let's get back to stitching. And I also realized I'm not stitching 1/4 of an inch because I don't have my 1/4 inch foot on. But we're just gonna keep going. It'll be fine. Am I using the Paxlovid? Nope, I'm not. I saved it for somebody else that might need it. My symptoms are negligible. I'm fine. I'm going to let somebody else who needs it take it instead. Oh, you know what? I didn't do the web piecing. Oh, well. We're just going to press. There's 1 row.
Oh, see, and I got 2 colors going here, and it's not going to matter. It's going to be so stinking cute. So forgiving. Kay says, I like your new hairstyle, Becca. Thank you. There's another one. Here's another. All right. Now we'll add a piece to each one of these. And then we'll sew the rows together and it'll be bing, bang, boom, done. Just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. But y'all will be happy to know that I believe, if you remember last week when I was on a live stream, I was sitting here and I had my cup and I had put a true honey tea bag, a couple of them actually, down inside a glass of ice water. I like to make cold brew iced tea, and I take the true honey tea bags and I put them down in a nice insulated cup full of ice water, and I let it steep for a long time, and it's lovely. I absolutely love it. But do you remember when I was on the live stream, I was like, oh, my tea tastes horrible. It tastes like spaghetti sauce. Do you remember that? Yeah, now we know why. Now we know why. Oh, well, some of these need to be pressed to the right and some of them need to be pressed to the left. Huh, that's a problem. Well, I'm just going to finger press. I'm not going to heat press. And that just will let me easily twist the seams as I put the rows together. You'll want your odd rows to go in one direction and your even rows to go in another. Becca, can a walking foot fit on Ruby? They do have a walking foot for Ruby. You just have to, they call them, it's a slant shank machine. So you're used to hearing about low shank and high shank machines with today's machines. This is a slant shank. So you just have to get a slant shank foot for it. Now I think they might have adapters that allow you to use low shank with high shank, and I don't know. I think Terry's here in the chat. She is a machine expert, so she could probably answer a little bit better about adapters. But as far as I know, I believe there is a slant shank walking foot that you can get for this if you wanted one. At least I see them on Featherweight Shop and stuff, so. Hello, Liz. Just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. Why is that song stuck in my head? I don't know, but I bet it's going to be stuck in all of yours by the end of this live stream, too. Oh, not all work, Bill said? Cool. Whatever Bill said. Hello, Deborah from Washington. And that would be all of my pieces. Now all my rows are made and it's just time to sew the rows together. So remember I said I'm not going to worry about heat pressing. I'm just going to finger press. So my first row, I'm just going to finger press all the seams going over to the right. And then the second row, I'm going to lay below it. I don't like that much white in the second row. We'll do, there we go. The second row I'm going to lay below it, and I'm going to put it right sides together. And then I'm just going to use my fingers to nest up the seams where the blocks come together. I can use a pin to hold that in place. I'm going to do that for each one of those seams. There's only 3. It's not terrible. You could, of course, just hold this with your hand if you want to, but I'm going to pin it. And then stitch the row on. Now, can you see how quickly this quilt is coming together? Could you imagine if you just did this with bigger blocks? You could have a quilt in like 2 hours. Mine is going a bit faster than a bigger one would because I'm working with smaller pieces. But the process is so simple. There's the first row on. I have 3 more to add. There we go. I'm going to feel the seam. I'm going to look at the bottom. The seams for the second row are going to the left, so that means the next row I add, I want my seams going to the right. So we'll just do this. I'm going to pin those 3 seams together. Good night, Mona. April said, Becca, you had Oh Ruby, don't take your love to town for days. Great, now that's back in my head. Thank you. Oh Ruby, don't take your love to town. When I was in the shower today, I had a hankering to hear Josh Turner. So I was like, I told my voice on my phone, whose name I will not mention so that all of your devices don't start going crazy. You're welcome. I was like, play Your Man by Josh Turner. I love that song. I love Josh Turner. I actually got to see him at a fair in Tennessee years ago. I loved that concert. It was great. All right, 2 more. Let's do this one. That looks great. Make sure the seams are going in the opposite direction so that everything can nest a little bit easier. Just can't get enough. Oh, it's stuck. Just can't get enough. Aw, Ian, thank you for doing that. You're so kind. So he's just gifted 5 channel supporter memberships. Zaza got one, Trina got one, I Love to Sew got one, Cora got one, and Donna Dixon got one. Awesome. One more row after this, you guys. You guys. By the way, I am not sewing any of this with 1/4 of an inch. My seam allowances are, they're uniform, but it's not 1/4 of an inch. This is a very forgiving project. So if you are a beginner, don't let this quilt intimidate you. There it is. One more row. Oh, so cute. So cute. And this could have so many different applications, right? Like, so as I'm seeing this come together, I'm thinking about different ways that you could make this quilt uniform, or like uniquely yours, not uniformly, that's not the right word. What if your print fabric was a layer cake? What if the big square was a layer cake, but then the snowballs were all the same fabric? What if you did like I did, where the big fabric is all the same fabric and you have scraps for the little snowballed corners? What if you have an assortment of scraps and prints for both, right? Like all sorts of different things that you could do. It's always amazing to me how you can take a quilt and just change up the color palette, and it can make it or break it. Sometimes just changing the fabric can make a huge difference in a quilt. This is my last row. Ah! I just knocked it onto the floor. There we go. Quilt in an hour? Yes, please. Let's give her a good press after we pick up my tool off of the floor, because that is not where it belongs. Yes, I am still working on Zoe's quilt. It might be getting pulled out here to be worked on a little bit tonight, just because I finished with this so early. We'll see. We'll see. It's a bit of a hard pill for me to swallow, because it's the same block, the same step over and over and over again. And it's not even hard being the same step, because if you think about when you're sewing a quilt, you're doing the same thing. You're sewing straight lines, throwing a straight line. And even this was making the same block. But what was interesting is there was visual interest, because I was adding different fabrics to things. That's the same exact fabric on the same exact fabric 80 times. And it's a little mundane. So I need to spice it up. But Zoe's going to love it, and I'm really excited to be able to give that to her. So if maybe I can get a also, I really haven't had a lot of energy because of the vid, but if I could get like a good ebook going, or a good binge-worthy series on Apple TV or Netflix or something, and play that and just get lost in the story, I bet I could crank out a whole bunch of progress on that quilt. Ooh, my elbow hurts. Trina says, so true. I've seen quilt patterns and thought, meh, and have seen it again later in another fabric and have absolutely loved it. Yes, see? The fabric choice can make or break your quilt. Absolutely. Jenny Harris says, does she know what it looks like yet? Yes, she does, and she approves. Although I think to add some variety to the quilt, I will likely be going through and changing up the focal fabric. So I want to intersperse some 9-patch blocks in place of where those elephant blocks are, just to kind of give it some visual variety so it's not all elephants. But I need to run that idea by her because ultimately this is a quilt that I want her to be happy with. I'm only going to have it for a part of its life, a very short part of its life. This is going to be Zoe's quilt. She has to be happy with how it looks in the end. All right, so this is the quilt that we have put together tonight. Let me show you. Go here. This is what it looks like. Isn't that cute? It looks like little kites, little bow ties. If you could imagine how great this could be in a, like this isn't even a lap quilt. I wouldn't even call this a baby quilt. In fact, I'm going to have to change the title to say doll quilt because that's what this is. But the technique applies. You can make this whatever size you want it to be. If you want to make it a baby size, I would recommend maybe getting 2 mini charm packs and 1 whole charm pack, or maybe make 40 squares and do, let me think, I got to think about the math. 6 by 6 you could do, I would maybe do 6 by 7, so 6 across and 7 down. If you wanted to make it a baby quilt size, that would mean you need 1 charm pack of this fabric or 42 pieces of your background if you want the same fabric. And then for the little snowballs, you would need 84 of those or 2 mini charm packs. So next time you're out and about and you want a quick, easy sew baby project, or by the way, lap quilts are great for, our baby quilts also do really good as lap quilts, or wheelchair quilts. So if you want that too, pick up a charm pack and 2 mini charms and you can whip this up in no time flat. It'd probably take you, I would guess, if you're going to do something baby size or wheelchair size, I would guess it would probably take you about 2 or 3 hours. So, like, this is like a napkin. It's an oversized napkin, guys. But it's a cute doll quilt. And if I had more of this, I can make a bigger version of it. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do with this. It might turn into just a free motion practice quilt, and then maybe I will gift it to a precious child who has a wonderful little doll that they absolutely love. You can see stars as well. Can you guys see stars? Kind of on point there a little bit. Kind of see them a little bit. How did you get on with EPP? Curb. Cute pillow ideas too. So I have embraced the idea of making smaller quilts to be used as pillows, pillow covers, pillowcases, shams. So if you wanted to turn this into a pillow cover, I would just make it 4x4 instead of 4x5. And then you could quilt this and put it on probably a 20-inch pillow. No, 18-inch pillow form. Maybe trim off a little bit and a little something else. But I would leave off the bottom row. I would just do 4 of 4. Or make it however big you need it to be for your size pillow form. So someone was asking me, how did I do with EPP? So this is my EPP bin. Is it my EPP bin? Yes. So I bought this really cute metal lunchbox from Carrie Quilting Company at Quiltcon in Raleigh, and I love quilty stickers, and so every time I go to Quiltcon I just get a ton of quilty stickers. And so I put a thimble on the Care Bear. It's cute, and she's drinking some creative juice and eating a pizza. I love them. This one's from Beth. It says Fabulous Friends Quilter. This looked like a little nail file. I put a sun over here, got some blocks, have a sticker on the bottom that says easily distracted by fabric. Over here it says made with love and swear words. And then I've got a couple over here. And then on the inside of this bin, that's also what's on the top, I've got some more. I've got Mr. Bone Sew sticker right here. I love that one. Don't be negative. This means I love you. That's a Crimson Tate sticker, and this really pretty Create rainbow. So I think I might even have some more down in here. But I've been putting all of my supplies for EPP down in here, and this is what I've gotten done so far. I have not picked it up in a minute, so I really need to kind of get back to it. This is where I am. I have 3 hexagons put together, and I gotta say I'm actually quite pleased with how it looks. I can't get you in closer to this, but the stitches you can barely even see. I had no clue that I could do that. I will tell you, the first time I sat down and did it, I was like, oh, okay. And I could see my stitches. And so I took a EPP class on Zoom with Karen Brown from Just Get It Done Quilts. And I showed her what I did, and I was asking why it looked like that. And she explained that my stitches were too big. I really needed to just take a bite of the fabric. And so that's what I did. So I ripped out the seam and redid this one. And then I did this one. And then I was like, okay, that's enough. And I set it aside, and I haven't done anything else. I did opt to get the 2.5 inch hexagon template, or the 2 inch hexagon template from Sue Daily Designs to go with the 2 inch hexagon papers. And did you know, I didn't know, that the hexagons are, the measurement, the 2 inch, is based off how big the side is, the one side. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I do have these pieces glue basted down, and I have everything in this tin ready to go. So I could, and I should, you know, when something's out of sight, out of mind, you tend to not work on it. But I should just leave it sit on my desk so that I can take it into the front room and do a bit of hand piecing while we're watching TV in the evenings. So, yeah. Somebody's asking, were you able to register for Quiltcon? I actually am. I was. So the way the Quiltcon, let's talk about this, because in less than a week, the site's going to open back up and they're going to unpause registration. So Quiltcon in Phoenix, a couple of things that you'll want to know. There are still classes and lectures available, but the workshops are very limited and the lectures are somewhat limited, but you're probably going to be able to get into a lecture. So if you are trying to get into something, I would prioritize your workshop and class over your lecture. Secondly, make sure that you are on the website, logged in, ready, like you are on the website before they open the registration, before they unpause it, because everybody that is on the website, they're going to be in a virtual waiting room. And once the line starts up, then everybody that was in the virtual waiting room gets a random number, and that's your line, that's your number in the line. And you have to wait until your number is up, and then you go in, pick out your classes, do whatever. So it's not whoever is in the lobby first gets to go first. It's everybody that's in the lobby. If there are 500 people, 500 numbers are given out randomly, and then they let the public in. Behind them, they start, like 501 would be anybody that comes after the time the line opens. You'll want to make sure ahead of time that you're looking at the schedule. You can get to it on the Quiltcon 2025 website. If you go under Plan Your Visit, there's a link there for interactive schedule. You can look and see all the different lectures, all the different classes, everything that they have. This is what I did. I went and looked meticulously through all of the classes and figured out what I wanted to take. And I made a list on my computer, so it was all ready to go. And by the way, do all this from your computer if you can, not from your tablet or your phone. Just trust me on that. So I had all of my classes already identified. I already knew what I wanted to get. Once registration opened, I was in the queue. I had a really low number. I got lucky. The link died, but I was texting with friends who were trying to register for Quiltcon as well, and they said that a new link had been sent out to check my email, and so I had friends helping too. I hopped onto that link and was able to register for and pay for 3 classes.
I am taking on Thursday evening, I am taking a class with Leo Ransom. On Thursday afternoon, I am taking a class with Geeky Bobbin. And Friday all day, I am like, as long as everything went through, and it did because it hit my credit cards and I have the receipts. So I'm hoping that everything stays intact, but I am taking a all-day class with Verushka. She's the face behind Pride and Joy Quilting, and I'm really excited about that. So Thursday afternoon, the class with Geeky Bobbin is going to be a class on how to use Procreate on your iPad to audition quilting stitches. I've seen Kristen from IC Stars Quilting do this in videos. I've tried to do it, but I'm not really proficient with Procreate, so I thought it would be fun to have a dedicated class where I could kind of exercise using Procreate on my iPad a little bit more. In the evening, the class that I'm taking with Leo Ransom, it's going to be his portraiture quilt using just 2 fabrics, so it's like a silhouette. Art quilt. I've never done an art quilt before. This, I would think, would be like dipping my toe into the water because it's only the 2 fabrics. It's not multiple layers. It's not like the Gaga quilt that Ian did. So I feel like that's something I can try and see if I like. Friday is going to be an FPP class with a pattern from Verushka that I have been wanting to do anyway. It is the Road Trips FPP pattern that you can get on her website. You can get on her Etsy shop. I absolutely love it. It's basically 2 Polaroids that are snapshots or pictures of the Southwest, of like a road going through the desert. So I'm really excited to do that. And that's really all the classes I'm going to take. There's a couple others that I've had my eye on, but I am going to be in a class all day Friday, and I'm going to be in 2 classes on Thursday, and there might be a couple lectures that I do Thursday morning. So that means that Thursday and Friday are going to come and go, and I probably will not have been on the show floor very long or for very much. And I know I want to spend a day looking at all the vendors, and I know I want to spend a day looking at the quilts. So my plan for Quiltcon in Phoenix is Thursday and Friday are going to be classes, lectures, and whatever, and then in the evenings just kind of hanging out with friends. You can come in. And then Saturday and Sunday will be the quilt show floor. Trina's asking me, have you made a temperature quilt? I made about 5 blocks in a temperature quilt, and then I gave up. Does that count? I kept telling myself I'd come back and do the other 361, but I didn't. My husband just walked in. He's doing his rounds. He asked what a temperature quilt is. So for those of you that don't know, a temperature quilt is when you take a quilt block. You could do this for a temperature quilt, and you come up with a pattern where fabrics represent the high and the low for each day, and you make a block for each day. So it can be very basic, like maybe this is your background, this would be the high, this would be the low, and you just sew them all together. Or it could be really intricate. It's just, some people have made houses where the roof is the high and the door on the house is the low and precipitation is the window. The goal is that if you set a specific fabric or specific color to represent a temperature range, then you get to see the fluctuations in temperature throughout the year on a quilt.
I would have never guessed that.
He said he would have never guessed that. I made a temperature pillow. No, because it was like 5 blocks that squared to 2.5 inches a piece. So maybe a temperature mug rug. January 1st through January 5th, and then I quit. Brenda says, I wish someone would show how to do the double wedding ring. I want to do one so bad, but I want smaller pieces and no cheater pieces. I have never done one before, and I can't tell you that I have been really interested in doing one, but if I do, I will let you know. Dawn Stewart says she's doing a house temperature quilt. Awesome. What else is going on in the chat? Let me make sure I'm not missing anything that I was tagged in. I think I've got everything. Oh, Mary said, I will miss all of you as well as Ian. I already know I'm going to regret not going once it comes around. So, Mary made a very strategic decision that I am super proud of her for making. She has prioritized a couple other trips that she has planned in 2025, and she is going to pass on QuiltCon. So, this year when I go, Ian will be with me. Tiffany is going. Ian and I are going to fly in together. We're obviously staying at the same Airbnb together. I think Tiffany might be staying there with us. Bill's staying there too. And then one of Bill's friends. So our Airbnb's all full up. We're good to go. I think all that's locked in, and Mary's not coming. She's got a quilt retreat that she really wants to go to next year, and she needs a week of vacation time for that. And then she and I are going to go to Disney World in December of 2025, and she needs a week of vacation time for that. And sadly, she only gets 2 weeks of vacation time. So if she did go to QuiltCon, she would have to shorten one of those other trips, which she doesn't want to do, and I don't blame her. Or she would have to fly in like late Friday night and then fly back Sunday. And it just kind of, it's a long flight and a lot of travel and a lot of expense to go to a quilt show. So, and she's not a modern quilter. She's more of a traditional quilter. So she would make it work if it was the quilt festival in Houston, but I think she's made the right choice. We're going to miss her, but we'll do lots of FaceTime calls from the show, do lots of Marco Polos, and we'll make sure she feels included. Claudia is letting people know that Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics has a double wedding ring quilt on her YouTube channel. There you go. And Debbie Dunn is letting folks know that AccuQuilt has a double wedding ring die for those that want to cut it out and don't want to spend forever cutting. All right, so it is 9:30. Let's give you guys a couple minutes head start. If you do !Facebook in the live chat, it'll give you a link to the Facebook group. We're going to do a little bit of sew and share. I'm going to show you guys what you have been working on while I whip together a really quick and simple doll quilt. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to upload your pictures, and then we'll pop over and see what you guys have been working on tonight. Shelby says, Becca, Ian, Bill, and Mary, my illegal husband says hello. Hello, Shelby, and hello, C. Jenny Harris says, I live in Phoenix, so I'm definitely going. Awesome! We'll see you there. And don't forget, I know this is super, super, super early, but I always have a little stash of freebies that I hand out. Usually they're quilty stickers or some other sort of fun little quilty item. Something fun to hand out. So if you see me at QuiltCon and you want a freebie, you want a little swag item, just come up and say hi. I'll chat with you for a little bit. We can take a picture together and I'll give you a little item, a little freebie. Oh, Brenda says, I watched it. She used a whole piece on the curve. Oh, excuse me, my nose itches. All right, let's pop over. I'm going to see if there's anything in the Facebook group yet. Usually there's stuff out there already. There is. Okay, so let's pop in and start looking at what folks have been sharing in the Facebook group. 1 second. That makes it a little bit easier. Move this out of the way. Nope, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm trying to do this so that I can see the chat while this is going. So I'm just going to do this so I can see the chat while we're scrolling. You'll see the chat on the screen too. Sorry. Not sorry. All right. Don't forget, tomorrow is the Plano Quilt Show. And I think Ian said he's going to do a live stream from there. So I just want to make sure I'm pointing that out. We're going to go to new post and we'll start going through and see what you guys have been working on. This first one is from Kelly. She says she finished these this week. It is the Wonderful Bird Block of the Month, and this is what the bird looks like. So pretty. Nicely done. Jill finished her mystery quilt from her guild. Ooh, I love these half rectangle blocks. They kind of echo, if you look at it, they kind of echo this star shape. It kind of adds like a border to it. That's neat. It's like a cross between a Jacob's Ladder and a Friendship Star, whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about. Moving on to the next one. This is from Katie Simmerd. Just finished the Continuum quilt yesterday. Finally, love the results, and Mom will be happy to add some color to her room at the care center. So pretty. Good job. I need to finish mine. Wow. Holly says, this is what I'm working on tonight. Instead of working on finishing what I should be, it's an FPP block of my own design using the Summer Lovin' and Favorite Things lines by Shayla Wolf for Wyndham Fabrics. This is actually a really neat idea too, if you look at it. So she's got a lot of busyness and a lot of bright colors and a lot of chaos kind of happening in all of the blocks, all of the 8 outer blocks, right? And she's calmed it down by doing that white hashtag and a central piece right in the middle. They're all kind of the same fabrics, but it's a lot to look at. But that white strip and that green in the middle gives your eye something to rest on, so you're not going crazy looking at all the busyness. I really like that. That's neat. You may have inspired something else that I'll be doing. Thanks. Susan said she is working on hand quilting her Winter Woods wall quilt and doing the Tula Pink 100 blocks with her local quilt shop. She is way behind on it, but was gone for a week and a half and is trying to get her quilts ready for the county fair, sorry. I've got a quilt I've got 2 quilts that are going to go in the county fair. Maybe 3. Definitely 2. No, State Fair. Sorry, State Fair. Sophie says, this is my latest top for Quilts for Care Leavers, a UK charity that is very close to my heart, and which gives quilted hugs, hence the long, thin shape, to 16 to 25-year-olds who have been in the UK care system and have often have pretty difficult lives. It's all from scraps. I have a lot to learn about balancing colors. Also need to stop taking pictures in the middle of the night. The lighting was terrible. I think it looks great. I think you did a great job. Olivia says this is not a quilt, but she loves making in the hoop door hangers. Hey, we'll take you. It doesn't have to be a quilt. You want to make a bag? Make a bag. You want to make a door hanger? Make a door hanger. We want to do some embroidery? That's fine. We're all just about being creative together tonight. I'd love to see what you're working on, even if it's not a quilt. Debbie Dunn says, earlier today I finished quilting a Christmas quilt, then I quilted this cute panel from So Yeah as a shower gift. I just need to add some snaps and I will be done with that. I'm getting ready to add a second Christmas quilt on the long arm. I'm still debating about the binding. I'm having more fun than hubby because he is outside cutting grass. Cute. Lori says, I am about a fourth of the way unpacked. I think I either need to destash more or get more shelves or sew faster. We all have that problem. I'm telling you, once you get all that fabric up on those shelves, you get really surprised at how much you actually have. I've gotten rid of a lot of fabric and pared way down, and I still have more than I need. Kathy Moore says the fish quilt that she has had quilted and finished the binding today. I am so happy with it. All right, let's refresh and see what else has come in tonight. Debbie Dunn said, Lori, just sew faster. Oh, wow. Jody said, this was my first FPP that I made up the pattern for. It was my mother's birthday. I also made the exploding box card. Oh, so nice. I love it. And good job on the pattern. Oh, pretty card. See? That's not a quilt. The card's not a quilt. Kai says, I'm a 13-year-old boy, and this is my first project. By the way, I love your live streams. Awesome. Thank you. And look at that. Kai made A pincushion! And that point in the middle is just awesome. Way to go, Kai. Karen says, this week I finished a flimsy slash top. It is falling stars. That's showering stars, right? For a quilt of valor. And then I made a bag, which I gave to my mom. This looks familiar, Ian. Ian did this quilt. Oh, I like it. Are those batiks? Nice. Katie says, making my first Buy Annie bag for someone at work. Wish me luck. Next. I am petrified of a Buy Annie bag. I do have to conquer that fear one day. But that day is not today. But when Ian moves in, it'll probably be then. Spoiler alert, Ian. We will be doing a Buy Annie bag. Because you've done them. And I want to make one, but I'm terrified of them. Yvette says, I'm doing tiny paper piecing, 1 down and 3 more to go. I love this block down here. I love that. I don't know what this block is, but I love that block. Is that a ribbon star? Whatever. It's pretty. And then we're back to the beginning. We'll refresh again and see what else has come in. Falling stars is such an awesome pattern. Yes, it looks like fun. Kai says, this is a project that is half completed and I'm making a blanket out of all of these little squares. You're doing a great job. And those are batiks. You did a good job picking colors. Yeah. Your points are really good, dude. Firefly Dreams is asking, is the Falling Stars pattern intermediate or beginner level? I'll let Ian answer that one. Because he did it as a sew-along on his channel. So he's got a series of live streams where he broke down the pattern into bite-sized pieces and hosted a sew-along. So if you want to do it, you can. Oh, Linda's saying that is a woven star. Thank you. All right, so that's everything that's in the chat. Wow. Or in the Facebook group. Hi, let's go here. Ian is saying he would say that the Showering Stars pattern is beginner friendly. What does everyone else think? Angela said, Becca, I was afraid when I got the Hemingway pouch. If I can make that, then you can make a bag. Speaking of Hemingway pouches, ooh, I just gave myself whiplash. I gotta show ya this. So Bob, I'll take the stuff out of here. The gentleman that painted my machine sent me a package this week. And inside of it was this letter that said, hey, Becca, I'm a new subscriber and a big fan of your Sew Becca channel. I watched your Hemingway pouch video and said, hey, I can do that. So I did. This is my very first project making anything, which is hilarious because the man works on sewing machines all the time. I had to learn how to do absolutely every operation from scratch. I had a great time and may make more of these for Christmas presents this year. So good job with your video because if I can do it, anyone can. P.S. I made this pouch for Ruby's foot pedal and cord and I hope this works. And so he grabbed batiks and quilted it up and put red on the inside to match the color of Ruby. So this is a perfect size for a couple pieces of paper, a little book, but also the electric cord and the foot pedal. So when I travel, I can put all of her little accessories down in here and take this with it. And this can be Ruby's little pouch. I probably would not have made one of these. I probably would have made something else for it. But I love that he made this for me because he has a special story in Ruby's evolvement. And the inside is made with red to match Ruby. So I am going to use this. I already had some things in it. So it was sitting down here by my sewing toolbox. So I just want to show you that. I also want to show you, if you saw on Instagram, I gave you a sneak peek of the project that has been taking up
all of my time lately. Are you ready for this? I can't believe I'm showing you this yet. This is what has been taking up all of my time in the sewing room. I've been working on this for about 3 months. I'm not lying. This is taking me forever. But I am about halfway through quilting it, and I hope to have this fully quilted by the end of the weekend. And once it's all done, I already have the video tutorial edited for you and ready to go. I'm just waiting to get this quilted and bound so that I can take some glamour shots of it and then record the intro and outro for the video and release that. So there is a tutorial coming for a cathedral window. This quilt will measure about 18 by 20. It's about a fat quarter size in case you're curious. All right. Linda says, oh yeah, when do we get a tutorial? Give it a couple of weeks. I've got 2 tutorials in the works, and I think I might go through and make a Bargello tutorial. Remember, we did that on a live stream a couple of weeks ago, and I figured out in my head as I was going through the live stream and working on these off camera, how to take some fat 8s to make matching mini Bargellos so that they could be pillow cushions. So I think I'm going to show you how to do that too. So that's a 3rd tutorial that I have in the wings. It's going to take me some time to get all these out because I've got multiple of them in flight, but they are coming over the next few weeks. The cathedral window quilt will likely hit around the end of August-ish. I have a quilt that's coming out called Spools and Stars that's going to be a pattern that you can buy, and the tutorial video that will accompany that. The quilts piece, the video's edited, but I'm doing the final touches on writing the patterns. That's taking me a little bit of time. So just bear with me, guys. I have been a little under the weather, really busy this summer. I've got a lot of good things in the works. So it's really exciting to me that, sorry, I just got a text from my mom and I'm not sure what the heck is going on. It's really exciting to me that you're still here with me, even though I'm not pushing out as many edited videos during the week, but I will always be here live on Fridays, except for next week when I am at the New Kids on the Block concert with my sister, spending some quality time geeking out to a boy band. But I will be back on the 23rd. I will let you know via my community tab as well as my Facebook group whether I'm going to have a pre-recorded video come up or if somebody else is just going to step into the time slot. Don't forget that Donna from Handmade by Ying does do a live stream on Friday nights from 7 until 8-ish. Maybe she just keeps going a little bit longer. That's fine too, whatever works. But I'm taking the week off because it is okay to take time off to enjoy your family and friends. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I will see you all really, really soon. Be kind to one another and create something beautiful. Bye, friends.